All right, everybody, welcome to the Philanthropic Podcast. Today we have got Dave Kendall on the show with us. Dave has an amazing story. We're excited for you all to hear it, and we're just going to jump right in. So, Dave, welcome to the show. Happy that you made it on.
Thank you. I'm glad to be here.
You are one of my first connections that I've made from posting videos and telling people stories, and someone who reached out, and supported the mission and supported what we were doing. And it's cool to have you on to tell your story. I've heard a little bit about it, but excited to have you come on so I could hear it raw and real, and we could really dive into that. So thanks for being here.
Thanks for having me. I'm glad to see you doing what you're doing, and I thought this is something I can really get behind. And I was challenged recently to tell my story more, and I knew I should share it. And when you reached out, I got a little nervous, and then I said, "This is a perfect opportunity to get it out there and to help others." And
absolutely
behind what you're doing.
Well, thanks for having that willingness, and I'm excited to jump in. So let's just get to it, right? So Dave, you I know where's Dave from? What's his story? What were the early years like for you growing up? And then we'll kind of jump into you said you had run-ins with homelessness and drug abuse and things like that. So I'd love to kind of hear that story and let's hear Dave's story.
Yeah, I'm from Provo, Utah, born in Provo, Utah, and growing up, I had a great childhood, and played basketball and football, and on the senior football team, and
cool.
And grew up going to BYU games, like I saw on your thing. We had second row basketball tickets.
Oh, awesome.
I went to all the basketball games and football games with my dad, and had a big family, and I loved high school. I was student body vice president, and
wow,
I really enjoyed life, and I enjoyed life, and no one ever thinks this is going to happen to them. I guess no one ever looks for this to happen to them. I had some success early on. I had an internet company and had a little car dealership, and
cool.
And I married a wonderful woman, and I had two sons, and we bought a house, and my wife was a nurse, and I started, I had a secret. I also, and it was easy to hide in the beginning. I could go get prescriptions from my doctor, and at least you think it's easy to hide.
Yeah.
But those around you know. And pretty soon you start losing the things you have and losing touch with your loved ones, and you might be able to function. I was functioning kind of, to those around me. And I thought they made me a better person. I thought that they made me a better person, and I was able to lie to my doctor and get, back then, as many pain medicines. They would give me as much as I wanted and increase it every month. And I needed that, and it wouldn't even last me all month.
Wow.
But I would get in a just ridiculous amount. And I remember one day my wife, who was a hospice nurse, came to the doctor with me, and she said, "David is on more pain medicine than all of my hospice patients combined."
Wow.
And he said, "David is on the exact amount David needs to be on." He was my doctor. He had to back his,
right.
The DEA shut him down, of course, and later, but it was hard. I remember driving one day to his office and just pulling over and just starting to cry, and just like, it was so hard to keep that up.
Yeah.
But you'd think you'd hit a bottom, you'd think you'd hit a bottom, and eventually, obviously, she was the only one supporting the family, and put a lot of pressure on her, and she left, and she took my youngest son with him, and that really affected me. And a lot of people would change because of that. a lot of people would change.
Yeah.
And I got worse and worse. And he was around 8 or 9, he was around 10 years old. And I sunk deeper and deeper and would live at my mom's house until that wouldn't work out, and live at friends and lived on the streets and hotel to hotel. And my other son lived in Provo, he was older. And I was still in denial.
Yeah.
I remember still being in denial and thinking, my sons are pretty successful, so I'm doing okay. I'm okay. And really getting high helped me stay in denial.
Yeah.
And if ever I had a feeling, I could really go get high and suppress that, and it would help me feel like I'm okay. When, wow, what a lie, it's right there in front of you. And I was hiding a lot of pain, having my son being in Arizona, and when I had my other son here in Provo, and I wasn't paying attention to either of them, and they both were having so much hope for me, and I was telling myself they didn't know.
Yeah.
They don't know what you're doing, David, and
So during that time, you said you'd been going from hotel to hotel. You were on the streets. You were living with family. How long was that period?
it's hard to go back and look, but I'd say around 10 years.
Wow.
About around 10 years. I'd get housing sometimes, and there's a lot of resources out there, but that's hard. You got to explain to your landlord why there's so many people coming to your door. I mean, you have a house, I'm sure. How many people knocked on your door yesterday?
3 or 4 probably. And
Yeah.
I'm in an apartment, right?
Yeah, right. And I don't think any knocked on my door yesterday. And there would be about 35, 40 knocking on my door,
Wow.
and so that's hard to explain to your neighbors and everybody. So obviously you lose
Yeah.
those opportunities that come by. And so around 10 years, and there was moments I remember my son in Arizona doing really well in basketball, and his mom would bring him for a week or so in the summer and for Christmas, and then I'd be with my 2 sons, the one that lived in Provo. And I remember one Christmas, I remember this really clearly. My son came, and I spent some time with him, and then he left, and my elder son said, "Dad, what are you doing?" What do you mean? And he said, "Do you know why Parker? You know how he does? He's got straight A's." And I said, "Yeah." You know why? One reason why. He said, "It's because he wants to take care of you when you get older."
Mm.
Hit me hard. And do you know why? You know how he prays every night? I said, "Yeah." He said, "He told me this before he leaves. The reason why he prays every night is for you to get better."
Mm.
Do you know how he practices every day after school, after practice at basketball? I said, "Yeah, I thought I was being a good parent. I thought these are things I'm doing." I said, "Yeah, I know how he's a good basketball player. He wants to someday be able to play basketball and take care of you." I said, "How do you know this?" He said, "He told me before he left." And that hit me hard. That hit me hard.
Yeah.
You'd think that would get me clean. That would be enough. But I just wanted to suppress those emotions and hurry and get those hidden. And but those were things that actually eventually helped to get me better,
Mm.
and that I could hold on to when I got the help I needed. And my sons were trying so hard to do all they could. I have that son. One son's a Buddhist, the other one's a Christian. And
Mhm.
when the younger son came one Christmas, and he couldn't find me. I remember I didn't have a phone. It's hard to keep a phone when you're out there.
Yeah.
And he couldn't find me. And he told me this later when I was clean, and he prayed and prayed because he thought I was dead. He's in town to see me,
Yeah.
and he can't find me.
Well.
He was terrified. And he said, when I was clean, he said, Dad, that time, there's one reason why I believe in God. I couldn't find you. And imagine thinking your dad's dead. He's in town twice a year and couldn't find me. I prayed and prayed and prayed to know if you're alive. Something told me without a shadow of a doubt that you were. And I knew God was telling me you were alive. And that changed me that day. And I didn't worry. Eventually, we got a hold of each other, and I didn't have to worry that night. My other son, who's a Buddhist, he would go into a room. His form of Buddhism is chanting. They chant for a purpose, like praying, but they just say this chant over and over.
Yeah.
He would go into a room, his mother in Provo, and chant, for me to get better, me to get better, me to get better. I didn't know this until I got clean.
Wow.
And he would put his all into it. Well, after I got clean, he invited me to his Buddhist church, or whatever they call it. He published that story. I was chanting for a purpose for my dad to get clean, and he got clean. He published that in their youth publication.
Mm.
My dad got clean. He has a job in mental health and recovery now, and I work in that field too now. And he's coming to our church. I went, and this is him. And they could not believe it.
Wow.
So, yeah, it was hard. I had a lot of moments of clarity. I got deeper and deeper and deeper. And I'd go to jail. And that's when it would hit me. I would think, these are the only times I'm calling my kids. I'm in jail.
Wow.
I'd get out of jail. And homelessness, what you talk about a lot. If I was lucky enough to get a ride home from maybe a family member, I didn't have a place to go. I'd go right back to those people and right back to that chaos. And there was one thing on my mind, and then I could finally, in jail, I would feel those feelings again because I didn't have anything to suppress them.
Mm-hmm.
Then I could go right back to stuffing those feelings, and nothing mattered to me. Growing up, I would, 4th of July is a huge holiday.
Yeah.
And especially in Provo.
Yeah.
The whole nation comes. I would run that race growing up. It was huge. Well, holidays stopped mattering to me. I remember one day, deep in my addiction, I was riding my bicycle. There were several people outside, more than normal. They were in my way.
Mm.
They were in my way, and I was saying, what's going on? And I put 2 and 2 together. It was the 4th of July. And I thought, wow, it was once my favorite holiday. Now these people are just in my way.
Mm.
Christmas is just another day. It got bad.
Yeah.
It got bad. Very bad.
Yeah. So then let's thank you for sharing that, and wow, powerful and emotional, right? And a lot that you have been through. How you talked about you got clean, right? You're on the other side now. You're working in mental health and recovery. How did you get to that point?
Like I said, I started going to jail a lot.
Yeah.
The cops started knowing my name. I showed up on Utah County's most wanted list. Went to Salt Lake.
Yeah.
Came back to meet with my son because he was getting married and arrested, obviously,
Wow.
and
Was
and
this mainly for substance abuse, theft? What kind of charges?
substance abuse, possession.
Mm.
I'd go in the store and steal something, and I went to Smith's one day, stole a shoelace and a lighter for some reason, and
Wow.
I walked out, and there was a cop waiting there. He said, "David, come with me."
Wow.
And so I started going to jail, and I remember I had a public defender, and she said, when you meet with them in the courthouse, she said, "You keep this up, you're going to go to prison." And I wasn't cut out for jail.
Yeah.
I didn't think I would ever go to jail. And I remember I went back to the jail, and I was laying on my bunk looking up. And I thought, how am I gonna? Okay, I gotta get back to normal. Look at me, I'm homeless. I don't have a job. I haven't had a job in so long. I used to know how to live a life. Gotta put a plan together. Just like the people you meet. How do they put a plan together to live a normal life? I was trying to piece a plan together, and I'm not going to prison. How? I could not conceive. I could not figure out a way. Okay, I'm going to get released. Where am I going to go? And I thought it was impossible for me to not. Possibly, I didn't know what to do. I didn't know what to do. Okay, I'm going to get a job. Wait, I don't have anywhere to sleep. I don't have a place to take a shower. I didn't know what to do. I felt no hope.
Yeah.
I was scared. I thought I'm going to be an inmate at Utah County Prison. So anyways, I got arrested again. I got released and I got arrested quickly.
Mm.
And I was afraid to call that lawyer. It was COVID, and they couldn't come into the to the jail like normal and come get you and say, meet with your lawyer. So they kept calling my name to call the lawyer, and I sat in jail for a little extra because I wouldn't call her, and they'd call over the intercom, "Hey, Kendall, call your lawyer." Finally I did, and I was so scared. And she picked up the phone and she said, "Okay, the state is offering you," she paused and she was looking it up, "drug court." I didn't know what that was, but I knew it wasn't prison.
Yeah.
Well, what it was the biggest miracle ever. It's a structured program for a year where they give you treatment. For me, it was sober living. They give you treatment and gave me a place to stay. And something that I really understood.
Yeah.
I had to take urine tests every 3 or 4 times a week.
Mm-hmm.
So I wasn't ready. The first week or two, I walked to Walmart and I drank and took some pills. And you go to court every week, and the judge said, "See, you have some dirty UAs. You're going to jail for 10 days." Well, my brain understands an instant punishment.
Yeah.
Or instant reward. Drug court gives you that instant punishment or instant reward. So I sat in jail, and I got out. I met with our director at the place I work now, and I thought, this isn't me. I'm going to do this. I can do this.
Yeah.
And so the next time I went to court, they said, "Good job." And it didn't matter what I told the director. It didn't matter what I told anybody. I had proven nothing to anybody, When you're in treatment, people I work with, they want, "Hey, look, I've been clean for a week or two. Family, come back to me." This and that. I tell them, it doesn't matter what you say, you got to do it. And I started acting. So I'm going to do this. I started giving clean UAs. In court, they clap. "Good job. Make your appointments next week." Well, you get that reward. And I was used to that, an instant reward. I started being clean. And then got a little job after treatment. Wow. couldn't believe that. I was driving the bus every day to treatment and got a little car. And after a little while, graduated treatment, and my life started turning around. I started seeing those changes, and I told our director, I said, hey, when I went in for my UA, I had a UA for a year, give urine tests. I said, hey, I want to work here. She said, we'd love to have you. You just have to be clean for a year. I said, okay, I'll let you know. And I started making more money, and then I thought I can buy a flight to Arizona to see my son play.
Yeah. Well,
Yeah, I went on a senior night, and I got to lead him out on the court, and his mom, my ex-wife, was saying, this is Parker's dad. Introducing me, and she was proud of me, and it was he said it was the best night of his life, and
yeah. Wow.
yeah, your addiction still tries to get you, though. I remember sitting in the car with her, and we were going to go meet her for dinner, and then guilt set in, and I thought, I'm here. Oh, wait, David, you missed his freshman year, his sophomore year, junior year. And I told her that. I said, I can't believe I missed all that. She said, don't worry about that. You're here right now. Enjoy this. He's happy. You're happy. The worst thing you could do is that you could let this make you relapse. And I took that advice, and still here.
Wow. So how many years clean are you?
Over 5 years clean. In July, I got 5 years
That's
clean.
amazing. Congratulations.
Thanks.
That's amazing. And thanks, Dave, for opening up about that story. Happy to see where you've gotten with your life and that you're giving back, right? That's a big focus for us, right? Everyone can do something. And especially if you've been in those situations firsthand, seeing people like you come back and help people in similar situations is inspiring, right? To see people doing that. So thank you for everything you're doing. Tell us a little bit about your life now then, the last 5 years. What is Dave doing? You're working in back in these communities, working at treatment centers, places like that. Tell us more about that.
Yeah, I'm working in treatment. Also, I want to mention that son is going to ASU right now.
Oh yeah?
He's coming out to the TCU game with me. I'm flying him out here. We're going to see TCU play.
Awesome.
He's going to ASU. My other son, he graduated from the U of U in mental health, and he works at a treatment center in Draper.
Okay.
He got married. He gave me my first granddaughter, and they're expecting my grandson.
Congratulations. Amazing.
Yeah. And I work in treatment, and I get to tell them where I came from, and I get to show them, and I have to remind myself to let them know because we have new clients coming in. And a couple months ago, one of them said, Dave wouldn't know. David's normal. And I said, what? I said, let me tell you something.
Wow.
I got here with less than you. I came to steps with a tank top, the socks I stole from the jail, the underwear I stole from the jail, sandals that were duct taped, and some shorts. And that's what I started with.
Wow.
And they were shocked. So I get to be a part of that. And just like you said, helping others is, I think, the biggest key to staying clean. Being part of that change and being part of that help is the biggest key.
Yeah.
If somebody wants to know how to stay clean.
Yeah. Helping others do it.
Yeah.
Teaching. Yeah.
Yeah. And there's that pull to say, David, go do something else to make more money. Go do this for a living. Go do that for a living. But I don't feel like I have a job right now. I don't feel like I have a job because I'm just doing what I love.
Yeah.
And I get to just be a part of this.
Yeah. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's awesome.
I feel so blessed, and it is amazing.
Yeah. Amazing. Well, Dave, thank you for sharing your story again, like powerful, and congratulations on 5 years clean. kind of as we're wrapping up here, what's like Dave's call to the world, right? I always give our guests an opportunity to kind of speak on that. But for viewers watching this and with homelessness and helping those, in their own personal poverty, right? What kind of advice would you give to others listening and watching?
Do the little things, and you can change somebody's life. Take your shopping cart back when you're at the store. Offer to take somebody else's. When you see that person with their head down at the dollar store, go up and say, hey, is there anything I can do to make your day better? Hey, you're not alone. Like you said in one of your things, you can't change everybody. Can't remember how you said it, but you can help somebody.
Yeah. Everyone can help someone. Everyone can help someone.
Yeah. Might take all of everything you have in you, but do something little every day. It helps you and it helps them. And everybody has hard days. And everybody is so valuable, and don't give up hope on anybody. Those that you know and love. I'm so grateful that they didn't give up hope on me. I didn't have a chance. Luckily, the state of Utah and my recovery center saw that there was hope for me, because I didn't think there was. But help somebody, do something little. And somebody the other day at the store, probably 6 months ago, took the cart back for me as I was walking back. And they didn't know that it was a big deal. But I've since done that for hundreds of people now to try to make their day better. And then I was with my son and his daughter, and these might seem like small things, but it was hot, And I got in the car and I noticed he had to leave my granddaughter in the car. When he took the car back, I was luckily there. And I thought, if there's a dad or a mom with their kid, they've got to do that and leave their kid vulnerable for a minute.
Yeah.
So now I look for somebody with a kid, and I wait for their groceries, and I take their cart back, and they're so happy.
Yeah.
So there's just little things that we can be doing. I had no idea about that little situation.
Yeah.
There's just little things, and if we can help somebody, I saw somebody at Smith's where I used to lay on the grass, hopeless, and nobody saw me, or maybe they did. I saw somebody laying there. You'd think I'd have the courage like you to go up and talk to them. I had recently challenged my family to go talk to somebody like that. I drove around 5 times trying to get the courage to do that.
To talk to.
Yeah.
I've been in that situation myself. I'm not, I feel that too.
I'm like, what am I doing? I should. Finally, I got out of my car. I shook his hand, told me his name, and I said, how can I make your day better? And he said, you already did. You just did. So do something little for somebody. I'll help you both.
Yeah.
And it'll change. You don't know how many people. But it'll start to roll.
Amazing.
Little mean acts will change the world for the worse, and little small acts will change the world for the better.
Agreed. Well, couldn't have said it better myself. Thanks, Dave, again for coming on the show and sharing your story. We're excited to share this with the world, and hopefully this inspires you to help someone. Again, someone can't help everyone, but everyone can help someone. So just do something to make someone's day better. Maybe it's returning a shopping cart, like Dave said, or something bigger. You can do something, and thank you for watching and helping us change the world and end poverty. So we'll see you guys next time on the Philanthropic Podcast.